Welcome back. Today we're looking at the Radioddity QT80, also known as the Anytone 6666 Pro, I believe. Yeah, it's a supposedly an 80 watt radio, 10 meter, expandable to add 11 meter. And yeah, it's been a really good radio. I've had it for about a month, a little over a month, and it's been a great radio. Power's decent on high power on AM. I'm dead keying about 16 watts, uh, give or take uh, give or take 1 watt, because my meter is it's not a digital meter, so got to kind of guess, but it looks like it's about 16 watts, give or take a watt. I'd say it's 16 or 17 watts. But great radio. The receive has been great. It's yeah, it's got a very sensitive receive. I've not tested any radios with a better receive. I've tested the Radioddity QT40, excellent radio. I'm currently testing out the QT60 over here. Whoop, there you go, over there. Also a great radio. All three of them, I don't know if they have the same receive hardware or what, but this one definitely has a different main board because it's smaller than the main board inside of the QT40 and the QT80, and I believe the QT40 and the QT60. I believe both of those have the same main board, but all three of them have comparable receive clarity. All three have noise reduction circuit, which for me is a deal breaker if a radio does not have that. But yeah, great receive. Um, what I really like about it is I can use the Uniden Bearcat wireless microphone. This is the dongle that plugs in, so it's got the correct port. You do have to modify your plug here a little bit to make it work on this radio. Whoops, I lost my mic. But after doing that, that works great, so I can walk around the house um, with my radio, basically. It only has PTT function, so you can't change channels or anything like that. But yeah, if you got a channel you want to sit on, it works great. So I really like that. I like that it's somewhat compatible with that wireless mic, even though you do have to modify the microphone plug a little bit, or the dongles plug. Let's see. I don't like that it's really crowded. I mean, even without these rails, you still have to move your hand to get at certain controls, or use the other hand. Over here, it's fine. The channel selector is fine. It's not too crowded there, obviously, because there's nothing around it. But yeah, it's just uncomfortable to use. And I get that it's made to be a small radio. It's made to be a mobile to fit in your car. So I get that. It's not a complaint about the design. It's just a complaint about my using it, because I'm not using it in a car. So let's see. A few things I'll point out. Just in my usage, I'm always running the. Let me find the. Yeah, I always run the noise reduction on receive at 3, and I always run the transmit noise reduction on 1, and I've never had any complaints on the on my transmit. Reports that audio is fine. So I will also point out I made a video on modifying that Uniden wireless mic to work on this radio, and one thing I found out, I was getting reports that I think it's 7 is the no. Yeah, I was getting reports that my audio was low, and I found that switching this from Electret, the default Electret type microphone, changing that over to the Dynamic or Dynamic, I'm not sure which word that is short for. Switching it over to Dyna brought my level up, and reports now are that my level is just fine. So what I like about it, the scan works, and it's got scan scope. I'm on lower sideband. Let's jump back over to AM. Scan works. Let me bring my squelch up so I can actually move. So right there, we just went from 4 to 7 because I skipped channels 5 and 6 because there's always just garbage on those channels. So scan works great. It's not as fast as the Bearcat, but the Bearcat doesn't have noise cancel or a noise reduction circuit, so it's just a really noisy radio. But yeah, the scan works great on here. No complaints. I can't complain about the scan here. Let's see. Just how I run it. Let me stop here. How I always run this, you may have noticed that my squelch was all the way off. I always run it with my squelch completely off. Turn the volume up. And then I'll max out my gain. And I'll give it a second or two to let the noise reduction circuit hone in on what it wants to remove. And then I'll back off my receive gain until it's completely gone. Let's see if we can find. There we go. So right there. So if I was listening to channel 17 or using channel 17, that's what I would do. I just run my squelch completely open and not completely down. That's auto squelch, but at about 9 o'clock. At about 9 o'clock on this outer knob here, that's got your squelch off. And then I'll run my I'll adjust my receive gain until it's completely silent. And that way I've got silence for my radio unless there's a signal coming in that I want to hear. Let's see. So we've got receive gain, you got your power. Like I said, with the power all the way up, I'm dead keying about on AM. I'm dead keying 16 watts, maybe 17 watts. I don't have a PEP function on my meter, so I can't tell you the maximum swing. I can also tell you on maximum power, my meter is a maximum 100 watts. Let me turn this volume down. My meter is a max 100 watts, and on sideband maximum power, I'm swinging and it's banging the 100 watts, so it's swinging well over 100 watts on sideband. How much over, I don't know, because my meter only goes up to 100 watts, but I don't ever run it full power. Let's see, we talked about squelch. Generally I like auto squelch functions, but I find with the noise reduction circuit, I don't really need it because I just run the squelch wide open and I set my receive gain so that I've got silence when no one's transmitting. So it's a lot like FM. I mean, I should say the radio sounds a lot like FM in AM mode because it's silent until someone transmits, which is nice. Power volume, we've talked about these. Good clicky selector knob, no complaints there. I've never felt the radio get warm at all. Again, I don't run it over. I think let's see the maximum power level. I don't know what 1 watt equals. Maybe 2 watts equals 1 unit here. I don't know. That'd be about 90 watts. But I've never run it over like 30. But never had any issue with any heat buildup. I'll also say these rails, I made a video about these rails. The link for them to Thingiverse, so you can download them and print them yourselves, is in the description of that video where I made a video on these rails. I've not used a lot of the functions. any of the memory channels, because I usually just stay on one channel. But yeah, I'll leave the noise reduction circuit on all the time. Never used emergency. Scan works fine. Um, yeah, between function button or getting in the menu with a long press of the function button, switching between modes, and the scan button. I guess I've actually never used that bottom row there. But yeah, it's been a great radio. It's too crowded here for my liking. Again, I get that it's supposed to be a mobile radio, so I don't ding the radio for that. I'm just giving you my experience with it. So yeah, it's too crowded here. That's my only complaint. I actually had one unit that my first unit I sent back because out of the box the dead key on full power was about 10 watts, and then over the next week it dropped to less than 1 watt. So I got a bad unit, the first one I got, and then it took 2 or 3 weeks to get my replacement in, because I think these are in high demand right now. So I guess they had to wait to get mine out of the factory, or get it completed and assembled out of the factory in China before before it could get to the US and get to me. So it took a while, but second unit's been great. No complaints. I wish there was more space here, but again, it's made to be used in a car. So if I was using it in the car, I would not have an issue with that. And also, if I was using it in my car, I have my radios mounted vertically in my car console, so I would actually be reaching in with my right hand straight down like this. So it would not be an issue at all in my car. But yeah, it's been a great radio. The receive is excellent. Noise reduction circuit is excellent. It does its job. It removes all the noise for me. This unit does anyway. Works just as good as the noise reduction circuits in the QT40, aka the Anytone Aries 2, and in the QT60 over here, aka the Anytone AT-6666 Pro. So excellent radio. Black Friday is coming up, so you might be able to get them lower than I think about 270 is what I got it for on Amazon. But yeah, I highly recommend the radio. This is not a design flaw. It's just uncomfortable for me in my use case. So yeah, highly recommended. Great radio, no problems. My first unit was bad. I can't fault the radio for that. There's always going to be bad units. But yeah, if you're looking for a 10 meter or a 11 meter / CB radio, I highly recommend it. I really like this radio. That's about it. Thanks for watching.